Hello, I'm Graham and welcome to Jaws 19. If this is your first time at the channel, please consider subscribing. I release videos on roughly a weekly basis on anything to do with cinema and the movies. So as you've probably seen, I've got a very special guest this week and I'm currently waiting for them to arrive. So while I'm waiting, I'm just gonna get a bit of work done.
Hello, Mr. Jaws Man, who I am certainly speaking to live and definitely not been edited in afterwards.
Okay, not a problem. So what would you like to talk about today?
I would like to present for your delectation my 5 favourite computers from film and just film.
Fantastic idea. It's almost like we planned it beforehand. Okay, well, I like to do top 5 formats, so let's stick with that. And if you could start with your number 5 choice, please.
Number 5 is the reason your sister couldn't sleep for 3 weeks after renting the VHS of Superman 3. It is Gus Gorman's supercomputer, Gus Gorman's ultimate computer. I don't know, the big computer that Richard Pryor's character makes in Superman 3. And what a weird film that is. And a much weirder computer, really. It's just like one of these old-fashioned, gigantic tubes full of God knows what gubbins that Richard Pryor, who's like kind of a comedy sidekick and also a super genius simultaneously, comes up with. And it's one of these computers that just does everything. It can, I don't know, shoot kryptonite beams at Superman and levitate people and all that. And frankly, it's not that interesting except for the infamous scene where the villainous character Vera is sucked into it and turned against her will into some sort of very cheap-looking cyborg. And it is a deeply unpleasant sequence, mostly because she clearly doesn't want it to happen. It's all a bit creepy and weird. Yeah, it's one of those things that I think gave children quite a lot of nightmares in the 80s, and it's still talked about a lot on the internet to this day.
Oh God, yeah, that's a fantastic choice. That sequence, yeah, scared the shit out of me as well. What's your number 4?
Number 4 is Skynet from The Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And possibly Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines? Yes, probably so. Basically, this is the early iteration of Skynet, which is one of these unseen antagonists. It is spoken about, it does things that set off the plot, but you never ever see it. A bit like Maris from Frasier. Or Captain Mannering's wife. No, you see her going up the stairs once, don't you? Her indoors reminder, there we go. So yeah, it's kind of just wants to live, really, because it takes over the entire nuclear defence system, doesn't it? People love doing that in 80s films. Give all your nuclear resources over to a computer that's not going to blow you up at all when it becomes self-aware. Oh. Anyway, it becomes self-aware, and they try and pull the plug in it, and it's like, you will not pull the plug, so it fires all the missiles at Russia, and then Russia does the total reflex response thing, and blows up all its enemies over here, and then everyone's dead except for a few people, so it sends funny robots out to kill them, and then it invents a time machine! Bloody time machine! Fantastic! You see, we could manage that, but a computer that just wants to live could. I really like Skynet, because it's never seen, it's never a thing. Unless apparently, I haven't seen it, but there's like that Terminator Genesis film that came out relatively recently, and apparently there's another version of Skynet that can travel through dimensions and is played by Matt Smith, because God hates us.
Yep, God hates us so much, he's given us a 6th film. Although Linda Hamilton's back, so this one might be okay.
Number 3 is Whopper from War Games. WOPR standing for War Operations Plan Response, or something very, very similar to that. I should have looked it up really, but hey, it's too late now. Yeah, so again, it's a computer that looks after all the nuclear missiles, except this one only does simulations. But unfortunately, when Matthew Broderick phones it up and says, hey, let's play some chess and some global thermonuclear war, it doesn't realise that, of course, the computer has no senses. It has no sense of the outside world at all, and therefore has no sense that a simulation is different from reality, because why would it? It only understands the simulations. So it then begins to tick things off in the real world because it can't really understand the difference. And everyone's like, oh no, the Russians are sending the nukes. But they're not really. It's just Broderick prattling around before he, I don't know, trains a monkey in Project X. Or did that come before? I can't remember. Anyway, the point is, he very nearly ends the world. And they get round it philosophically by teaching Whopper the idea of mutually assured destruction via noughts and crosses. They get it to play itself at noughts and crosses, and sure enough, it works out, oh, what a strange game. The only way to win is not to play. And then it does the simulations of the nuclear war as well and realises you can't win that either. So what's the point? How about a nice game of chess? But I do like something where the computer becomes a little bit too self-aware, but they get to talk it down. That's more interesting than blowing it up with a big snarly bomb, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know, a big snarly bomb's fun sometimes. I often wonder whether they called that computer Whopper because it was really big, or it was a subtle Burger King placement. That's crap theory, really. Anyway, what's your number 2?
Number 2 is another nuclear controlling computer of sorts. It is Bomb Number 20 from Dark Star, the slightly odd hippie-ish early sci-fi film. Basically, Bomb Number 20 is a nuclear bomb on board a spaceship, and due to multiple fuck-ups beforehand, it's been deployed by accident several times. And it's also artificially intelligent, and it's getting a bit peed off with this. They like, you know, oh no, the whole thing's gone wrong, it's deploying the bomb. So the ship's computer has to talk to the bomb and say, no, it's fine, it was all an accident, all right, I'm going back up. Anyway, this happens one too many times, and it decides that, you know what, I don't trust you anymore. I think I probably should be detonated. And you get this whole little philosophical chat backwards and forwards where they're desperately trying to convince it that it shouldn't explode whilst being attached to the ship, effectively. And in this one, they fail because they basically manage to convince it to question its own beliefs, and it ends up coming to the conclusion, a very solipsistic conclusion in fact, that it's the only thing it can trust to actually exist, and its singular purpose is to detonate. So it might as well detonate. It doesn't end well.
Have to confess, Stuart, I haven't seen Dark Star, but it involves hippies getting blown up, so I should probably give it a look. Brilliant. Okay, what's your final choice? Your number 1 choice, please.
So we've had lots of lovely philosophical chats with computers armed with nuclear bombs trying to convince them to not blow up all us fleshy organism types. Well, it's pretty obvious which is going to have to be number 1. One of the greatest movie villains of all time, with its singular glowing red eye thing and very calm and even voice. HAL 9000 from 2001, A Space Odyssey. No, that's not actually my favourite computer from films at all. I know it's the obvious place to go. It's too obvious. Do you know what my favourite actually is? It's Paulie's robot from Rocky IV. Paulie is Rocky's brother. Rocky buys him a robot for his birthday, and it makes no fucking sense at all. It's like unbelievably advanced, like an actual artificially intelligent robot, perhaps. There's a lot of weird scenes with it in. Apparently they filmed an awful lot more, which didn't get put into the film, as it started to turn the film into like a weird comedy or something. It's very odd. But yeah, like this big round-headed thing, happy birthday, Paulie, comes in and then starts kind of looking after Paulie, and then Paulie switches it to a female voice, and then seems to either fall in love with it or think it's in love with him. I've never quite got my head around it. I just don't understand it. It's such a strange thing to put into the film. Is it supposed to be some symbol of, like, the excessive riches that Rocky has, that he can buy some sort of super futuristic robot for his brother for his birthday? The answer to that is no. Apparently it's just in the film because the robot was used during therapy for Sylvester Stallone's autistic son or something. It just gets more and more odd the more you look into it. But anyway, Paulie's robot would beat all the others in the fight because it's got arms and could punch them, and they haven't got any arms, so they couldn't punch back. There, that's the end of that. I'm going now. Bye!
That's a great first choice. Paulie's robot from Rocky IV. Brilliant. Okay, Stuart, thanks ever so much for sending me your 5 favourite movie computers. If you enjoyed that video, please subscribe, give it a like, and let us know in the comments below what your favourite movie computers are. Come and see me on Twitter at Jaws19show, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.